Hello and welcome back to another video. If you have not seen the previous video, go take a look at it. I'll drop a link in the bottom of the description. And let's continue where we left off yesterday. I asked you a question. I asked you, what is the significance of dying on the cross? Why did Jesus have to come to the world to reveal God and die on the cross? What is this death on the cross business all about, right? Because we know that, like I said yesterday, Jesus came to reveal who God is. People who see Jesus can see what God is like. And his reason for coming is because he was sent, and also to reconcile, meaning to bring us back to a healthy relationship with God. So why did Jesus have to die on the cross? There are many people out there who have a similar question. If Jesus was God and he's such a great person, why did he have to die? And we're going to talk about that and answer that question today. So imagine with me, if it is possible, um, hmm, what dying on the cross is really like. It is painful. You basically nailed to a cross with big nails, pikes, and you basically bleed to death or you suffocate to death because at some point your arms can no longer carry your weight and you basically cannot keep breathing because every time you breathe you have to heave yourself up in order to take a breath. So you die from exhaustion. This is one of the most difficult, horrible, heinous deaths out there, to die by slowly suffocating. And obviously, it's also very painful, and it is a very slow death. People can last on the cross for many, many hours and some even days. Which is why, if you read the gospel accounts, they broke people's legs at the end of the day because they wanted to just um, speed up the death. So it is a very, very horrible way of dying. It is awful. It is heinous. Like I said, it is very, very cruel, and that's why we don't really use this in the world anymore. So why did God have to send His Son to Earth in a person, as a human, to die on the cross? A lot of people don't know why, and it is quite a mystery. Because if you look at it, at the end of Jesus's life, his ministry, after he had done so many miracles and healing and casting out demons and even raising people from the dead and you know feeding people and leading them, pointing them to God, pointing them to the truth. At the end of his life, he was basically mocked and captured and brought through. He endured a very illegal trial. He wasn't even given a way to the whole trial that he had before Pilate and Caiaphas and all those Sanhedrians. It was very, very illegal. It was done in the middle of the night. He wasn't given true justice, and he was basically they already assigned guilt to Jesus. He wasn't even given a fair trial like we would have been given in the world today. So this is a person who calmed the storm, who healed the sick, who walked on water, who raised people from the dead, who fed people. Um, he did miracles, he did signs, he did wonders, and this is the person that raised people from the dead, and now they're mocking him, they are spitting on him, they are whipping him with uh, cat of nine tails. They're doing all kinds of stuff to him that is so horrible. I don't even have the words for it. He was, mocked. He was scoffed at. He was made a joke. He was, like I said, spat upon, whipped, and ultimately nailed to a cross. So, what is this? This is the way you treat your king, your God. Obviously, they did not believe that he is God, but this is how they treated him, and it's all you can't even make this kind of stuff up. Um, he was crucified on the cross, and this is really to show us the extent of our sin. And I want to talk more about our sin in the next few minutes. And what is sin? What is sin according to us? I want to talk about what is sin according to us and what is it according to God. Right? What is sin? Many people, they don't even use the word sin anymore. They will use other words, because they don't understand what sin is, and also because they don't agree with what sin is. What is sin and what is sinfulness? One of the biggest tragedies of our time is that we don't understand what sin is, and because of that, we don't understand why God is so serious about sin and absolutely hates and can't stand sin. What is sin, and what is the sinfulness of sin? That is what I want to talk about right now. So some people see sins as mistakes. Oh yeah, we made a mistake. We are weak, right? We slipped up. We made an error. We made a mistake. We did not know, and they think that their ignorance is license or a good reason for the sin that they have done. And some who know that they are doing wrong do it purposely, and that's even worse, right? But those people who see sin as something, not that serious, they need to really understand what sin is and how God sees sin. So we people, humans, we like to justify, or we like to excuse sin as a mere mistake, or an error in judgment, or a weakness, or one of those excuses or reasons, right? But we need to define sin as what it actually is. It is basically us declaring our independence from God, saying that we know better than God does, and sure, we're not perfect, but we try our best. So it is really ultimately this spirit of independence that uh, we can see from the beginning, from Genesis, in with Adam and Eve, and all the way through history. The nation of Israel and people, kings, and all kinds of people throughout history and throughout the Bible, they've always um, asserted their own independence and their own judgments above God's judgments. So this spirit of independence from God, right, is very, very poisonous. And I'm going to talk about how deadly sin is very soon. But this independence, this spirit of independence, it actually exists in everyone, in every child, in every person, every human, and in some animals as well. They seek independence. We seek independence. Even um, at this at a you know uh, we basically, yeah, we seek independence in one way or another, and even when it is not the wisest, smartest thing to do, right? So this sin, this independence from God, and all this, this rebellion, ultimately, the way I look at it is, and I think God also sees it as rebellion. Independence and rebellion from God is in our hearts, in our minds, and in our actions, and this is ultimately what uh you know is the main reason why Jesus had to come to reconcile us to God and to die for us on the cross. So we've talked about how we have seen well, how we see sin, right? So in the next video I want to talk about how God sees sin. What is God's perspective and his point of view on sin? And um just as a preface, God is the judge. God is the ultimate judge, and sin is um sin is this horrible, horrible thing to God, and I'm gonna explain that more in the next video. So we've talked about why Jesus had to come to die on the cross, and we're going to talk more about that next time as I explain what sin is in God's eyes. All right, I'll see you tomorrow.